My name is Zanele Jaftha. I am the head of Nedbank Digital Advisory Services. #empowerment, because the type of job and career that I've done was all about empowering people. From the very first job that I did to now, I feel like what I need to do is just to leave a touch of empowerment to people. Superpower that I'd like to have is to be a mind reader. You know, the human psyche fascinates me. I'd like to get into the minds of people and understand what they're thinking, what drives them to behave the way that they do, and just generally, what are their beliefs? You know, because people are very complex human beings, right? So I'd like to be definitely a mind reader. So my go-to shoe depends on the occasion. Just for casual stuff, I prefer sneakers. And then for work, always on high heels, because I feel like it gives you a little bit of sophistication. And I also like to tower a little bit more over other people. If I were to go back to my 13-year-old self, I'll give myself 2 pieces of advice. 1, don't sweat the small stuff. I think I spent quite a bit of time looking at things that were not significant and not worth spending my energy on. So I would go back and not sweat the small stuff. And secondly, is to say, don't wait to fit into an opportunity. Allow the opportunity to fit into you. So if I could go back and tell myself something, those 2 major things. Relationship with myself has evolved in the past several years, in that I've become more confident. I am comfortable to becoming the person that I am. Because when I was growing up, I was quite skinny and I really did not have any confidence. Now put me anywhere and I'm okay. If I look back, the one thing that I was really afraid of was networking. It was my worst fear, to the extent that I would go to the bathroom just to get away from a situation where I have to network. So I took some time, sat around with my friends that were good at it and understood how they do it. And I was also very lucky in a sense that I got put into a job that forced me to learn how to network. If you were to put me into any room right now, I don't have any problem with networking. If I wasn't working in the banking industry, I probably would have been a pharmacist. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to do pharmacy as a course. And the reason is really that I love to help people. And with being a pharmacist, there's an element of healing through medicine and the prescription that you give to people. If I were to have dinner with 5 people, firstly, I would choose Sheryl Sandberg. So Sheryl was the first female to be the COO of Facebook. And she actually wrote a very interesting book, which was a lean-in book, where she talks about opportunities as a woman, where she walked into this environment that was very well male dominated. And she had to navigate her way through it and change things because they did not even have a bathroom for females. So just little things like that, for me, it shows, you know, that a woman can walk in and change anything. So that will be the first person. The second person that really I like is Dr. Esther Mahlangu. So Dr. Esther Mahlangu is the artist who took the Ndebele traditional designs, right? And she was just doing her work, but it ended up going into a global stage. I mean, the way it worked for her, she ended up partnering with major brands, like your Rolls-Royce, your BMWs. So if you look now internationally, you find limited edition with work that was done by Dr. Esther Mahlangu. So I love her. And my third person will be Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka. So Dr. Ngcuka, I call her that. She's a very quiet person, and she's got this very ladylike demeanor, but she's a powerhouse. So if I looked at her journey, I look at the fact that she was actually once a vice president of South Africa for quite a number of years. And she moved into the United Nations and she became a director general for women's rights. So you get people that are not necessarily the loudest people, but they are absolutely brilliant people. That's number 3. And then the fourth person is Dr. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, right? First elected female president in Africa, right? So she was the president of Liberia, and you can imagine getting into Liberia as a female. That environment, which was very volatile, no peace in the environment, and she had to put in a lot of work and change a lot of things for Liberia. And the way that she succeeded in doing that for me really, really fascinates me. And then the last lady is Mpumi Madisa. So Mpumi Madisa is the CEO of the Bidvest Group, which is a top 40 JSE listed company. Now you can imagine a young Black woman heading up an institution like Bidvest Group, which has, I think, about 120,000 employees, and it's JSE listed in top 40. So if I look at all these women, for me, they symbolize the resilience of women, the strength of women, and women who broke, the notion of the ceiling for women. So those would be the women that I'd have. The most helpful advice another woman has ever given me was to think about leadership, right? So the conversation was leadership. I need to remember that leadership is not about me. I need to understand what I do as a leader. 2 things: make sure that your leadership is driven by values. Secondly, make sure that whoever you work with or you touch, you always leave a positive impact in their lives. So throughout my career, actually, that's what I've strived to do. Make sure that as a leader, I understand it's not about me, it's more about the people I work with and less of me. If I was on a world stage and I had to talk to women, I will tell them, firstly, you are as good as you think you are. I think we underestimate the power of positive thinking. So it's very important for women to understand that you need to be able to understand your strengths and your weaknesses and be able to work with that. And secondly, I would also tell women that sometimes opportunities are not going to be given to you. You need to open the opportunities and walk in. There is a place for everyone at the table. You just need to pull the chair for yourself.